There's tons of different peaks, lots of good ones, plenty of bad ones. This one is a very easy one to do, which is why I'm showing you this. There are a few things, even though it is easy, you have to be able to set it up right and sell it right. You can't just do the peak, tell them their card, and expect it to have the full effect, because this potentially could be one of the strongest things that you do, depending on how you build it up and let them know how the conditions are. I will say that one thing that I like about this peak a lot, even though it is very simple, the moment of the peak happens at a different time than other peaks. Usually a card is selected, a card is looked at, maybe a card is selected like this, and then I still have to look at the card. There's lots of ways to do that in a natural way, but for some that might not be the easiest thing, or depending on the situation, that might just be a little too hard when everyone is focused on you and what you're doing. And this peak happens the moment before they actually see their own card. So you get to put the deck away very fairly and immediately put it away, hand it off, or whatever else you want to do. So I'll give you an example of what this looks like. They're just going to say stop as you drop the cards down. So if we say stop, and notice that the head is turned away at this point, and I know that that's the 3 of clubs. So we'll get into how I did that. I'm sure you already have an idea, especially since I just explained that it's a peak. But we'll talk about a few little subtleties, and we'll go a little more into how you can sell it and what you can do with this. Dribbling the cards. Doesn't matter if you dribble it like this, it doesn't matter if you dribble it at the corners, whatever your preference is. But what you're going to do is just look at the cards. That's the 10 of diamonds. And what's happening here is that from behind, I'll give you a view of this later, but from behind, you're actually able to see the bottom pip here. So the more you bend that card, you obviously don't want to do a huge bend and make it very noticeable. You can very easily see the 4 of hearts. Now, why this works, I think, is because it's naturally motivated. You're dropping cards singly into your other hand. It's an easy feeling to just do it without looking at it, but to most people, especially laymen, it kind of makes sense that you would have to look at the cards as you drop them. Otherwise, you might drop a few on the table or on the floor. So it's just kind of motivated in itself how the card is being selected. And another thing is, they're just selecting a card. You're just having them look at a card. They don't think you're doing anything yet other than getting them to choose a card and look at it. So that is why I think this peak works so well. So even though this is a very, very easy thing to do, as long as you know how to dribble the cards, you'll probably do it the first time, and pretty consistently. There are a few things that I think you should really work on refining. And the first thing would be, when you're first getting the card selected by the dribble, you don't want to have to dribble up here and do the selection that way. You want to work on getting the cards as low as you can. If you need to, you can tilt the cards a little bit forward, and that really helps you see the cards. But you don't want to do too much of this tilting action, otherwise it's just going to become very obvious that you're looking underneath. Another thing is, as you get the card selected, so say you're at this point and you see the card, and you've already seen the card, when you tilt the cards so that you show them, don't just tilt it. Turn your head to the side. You could even close your eyes at this point if you wanted to really sell it, and bring the card up near your face. You don't have to bring it real close like this, just around here, so that they definitely get a view of where you're looking, so that by the time they look at your face, you're already looking away. There's no way you could see this card. And place it back. And that's it. I'll give you a couple of examples, of course. The most basic would be just getting their card selected, putting the deck away very fairly. They can shuffle the cards, it doesn't really matter for this effect anyway. So you could just put the cards away, give them to someone else. And if it's your kind of personality to do a kind of deep eye connection kind of mind reading where you're really trying to look in there and get the card and really milk it and just say, you know, it's kind of a black card, or it's a club, maybe a 10 of clubs. Or if you're just kind of the person that will, if you really could mind read, you might feel that you could just take a little bit of time to do that, but then you get the card instantly so that you know 10 of clubs. Again, it just depends on how you like to perform things, and you just need to make sure you build it up right. You don't want to just get a card selected, put the cards down, 10 of clubs. It won't really have the full effect if you do it that way. It could, but more often than not, you're going to really have to build it up. So that's, of course, one of the more simple things you can do, and potentially one of the most powerful things, just because of the fact that it's a mind-reading effect rather than just a card trick. Or you could, as soon as you get the card peeked, you get the card looked at, you put the cards away, give them the shuffle, so someone is shuffling the cards, and since you know what the card is, it doesn't really matter where they shuffle the card, and you're just going to go through the deck, and you want them to make sure that they see their card mixed up somewhere in here. Really point out that you have no idea what that card is. You haven't seen or touched the deck since they selected the card, and you're just going to go through and you want to make sure that they're looking for their card and that they're also looking for any kind of duplicates. And as soon as you come to that card, which in this case was the Ace of Spades, I believe, you can just go ahead and cull that out and control it to the top, whatever you want to do. You could do, you know, from here again, you could do the ambitious card routine, you could palm the card, do a card to pocket, card to wallet, whatever you want to do with that. And supposedly they've never uttered a word about their card. All they've said is, yes, I've seen the card, and they've seen every other card. So again, you can do many, many different things with this. It doesn't just have to be the peek. Use everything you know. Use a palm, use a control, use a pass. Whatever you want to do, try it with this. You want to have them write down their card on a piece of paper, burn that piece of paper, and somehow from that piece of paper and those ashes maybe figure out their card. Again, it wouldn't really matter. You wouldn't want to do this selection because you'd have to force it. But something you could do with that ash thing is if you force the card, you could have that, say it was like a 4 of diamonds, you could write a 4 and draw a diamond in chapstick on your arm so that when you take the ashes, rub them on your arm, those ashes will stick to the chapstick and they will see a very clear 4 and diamond. And thinking of that now, there is a way that you could do that impromptu. It would be a little difficult and it would take a little more working out, but just giving you an idea, just something to think about, something to play around with. And as an example, you always want to try and think of new things, and I just thought of this right now, so bear with me. If you have some chapstick ready, you may want to play around with it and get some kind of little glob somehow contained somewhere on you. Or you could just have the chapstick on you in your pocket or something like that. As soon as you get the card selected, say the 2 of hearts, you give them the cards, you let them shuffle it, and you can turn away at this point. Turn away, go into a different room, whatever else, make it as convincing as you want. write that card on your arm at that point. Now you don't have to do it at that point when they're shuffling. You could also do it when they write their card down on a piece of paper, which sounds a little bit better to me. So as soon as you put the cards away, give them a little pen, pad, or whatever else you want to have them write it. And to make sure that there's no way that you could know, turn around, step outside if you're in somewhere, step into another room, do whatever you have to do, make sure no one can see you, pull out the chapstick, write that card down, and then you have a appearing revelation in ash when you put the ash on your arm. That's impromptu and you don't need to force the card. So again, lots of different things you can do. Hopefully this helps you out with your card magic a little bit. Maybe gets you into mentalism a little bit, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it.